This is Zeus. How are you today? The now. I was wanting to share a feeling, and I didn't know exactly how that would come off. And I was considering the feeling and how I'd approach a sharing emotion of that feeling. And it kind of goes like this. And if you would like to share the feeling with me, I would actually be so encouraged. And so, one of the things that I do know that strikes these things is breath. So I was just wondering if you could take a deep breath, filling up your bottom lungs, and then letting that fill up the top part, and then just gently release it. So we're just going to go like this, okay? Like breathe in. Just gently release. Smile on your face. And breathe in. And gently release. I wonder if you could consider with me, say the happiest moment in your life. You don't have to say anything. You just think about what the happiest moment in your life looked like. You see it? Personal, I know. So now what I want you to do is go back to that moment, enter the eyes of the person that was feeling that, and then feel the emotions again. See how it feels. And breathe in deeply, fill it up here, bottom of the stomach. And just consider that moment. Feel it. Feel good now. Breathe in again. Feels good, doesn't it? Now, the thoughts that we think are predominantly the things that we picture in our mind, and then we associate emotion with the pictures in our mind. And unknowingly, we do it a lot of times just because that's what we do. And a lot of times we're not thinking about it, and then to think about it, then to know and not to do is not to know. Consciously, it's not really a conscious thing, it's a subconscious. So we did a conscious entering into what we normally do subconsciously without any thought to it. And predominantly, my question is that the way that you'd like to feel? And if it is, I just showed you a way that you can feel like it anytime you want to. And the interesting thing about it is, predominantly, what happens is your world resonates those feelings to you, and it becomes more of a habit. And I tell you what, there's been a few habits I've had in my life that I'd probably like to give up and take that one on, right? And what that does is it attunes the rods that are actually in your brain to resonate a frequency into the field, right? And so everybody around you is actually blessed by you doing that because it makes them feel better. And some people it doesn't because their mind isn't attuned to it and they actually leave, which is interesting. Abraham, through Esther Hicks, Esther and Jerry, they were talking, and Jerry had said to Abraham, he said, "Why is it that there's murderers and rapists and stuff like that? Shouldn't they all just be put on their own island?" Well, friend, in the law of attraction, Abraham's answer was yes, that's what they do. Because the law of attraction is they bring more to themselves. So now they're actually living a dream that they predominantly created for themselves. Abuse and abuse and abuse, and it just all comes back to them. You're either giving or you're receiving. There's three different types of manifestation. We manifest first in thought, right, and then second is in possibly the viewing of it, right. Normally, I see the viewing of it is easy to come, and then the possessing of it. And in the same manner, most of us want to set out and produce something that is desired, right? Well, if you're doing that and not knowingly doing it, subconsciously doing it, which we do all the time, because we are a magnet and everything that's coming to us is the atoms that are in the field that are in a perpetual state of becoming, right? It's interesting, I got one of my friends, Beth, and her husband, Kevin. Beth's like science, she's calling me the professor. She goes, is it okay if I call you the professor? I'm like, rather you not. Considering what we really know, I mean, I don't even know the scratch of the scratch. I'm just making deductions based upon what I think. And because I'm open to the fact that I know I don't know what I don't know, what happens is you get placed in a state where the universe can actually talk to you and put extra stuff inside your head to give you clarification, because the only things you don't know, because it was proven through science that in your DNA you know everything, but the only things you don't know is the questions you don't ask. That's pretty fucking fantastic if you think about it. So the questions I don't ask is predominantly the life that I'm going to receive. And so what happens is in the mental state, and this is mind-wise, the mind, if it's not thinking forward, it's going to be thinking backwards because it's always working. You got people saying, I just don't think about nothing. But you say, all right, because you can tell, you can look at them and you say, look, that dude looks totally messed up. But they're thinking of nothing as far as they're considering, but they're thinking of nothing forward, and their mind is automatically in a perpetual state of trying to fix stuff, and it's called a form of schizophrenia, right? And schizophrenia is this: you enter a problem in your life that you are trying to figure out, right? It was a heavy deal, and I'll share mine with you. And this is at no fault of my ex-wife or anything like that. This is the results of my own thinking that created this circumstance for me in order to expand into something different, right? Because I didn't like the person I was before, even though I was 289-pound bodybuilder. I mean, I'd go have these tests done, nurses and stuff like that, and they would, the chart numbers wouldn't match right, and she's like, that doesn't matter for you, right? And see, that's an interesting thing, because if a nurse is telling you that the numbers they got isn't mattering for me, would truly bring that doesn't matter for nobody, right? So, it is what it is. I don't really know where I was going with all that, but the fact of the matter is your mind is always working forward or it's working backwards. And schizophrenia is you hit a problem, your brain is trying to figure it out consciously, but subconsciously you're still running, right? You're running programs because there's nobody at the wheel. You're not driving the show. The subconscious brain is, and now you are no longer the liver of the life, you are the experiencer of the life. And some of the shit you'll experience will blow your fucking mind. And it will keep you in that perpetual loop. And never, ever getting off the loop. Right? But thank God. Thank God for God, because, I mean, I know I met this young lady. She's absolutely fantastic. She's into the helping people and working with the mind and stuff like that. And I was really blown away by how genuine and how amazing all the people are that I'm meeting, you know. And I wouldn't have met these people if my truck was running. I was thinking to myself, I am so grateful. Even though it's so cold outside, even though not wanting to take the bus, but I wouldn't have met these people. Why? Because I would have been doing something else, thinking I was doing something more beneficial. And, you know, it's interesting what we think is important and what truly we think is important. Because when we stop and think, it's like, what do we really want to accomplish in the world? I want to accomplish a better world for me, my children, for my brothers, my sisters. I don't want any war. Any book that advocates war should be burned. Literally burned. It has no purpose. War has no purpose. Yes, we are right. We as a conglomeration are right. There is no fault in it. You know, and as long as we keep focused on strengthening our bond and having the best possible time we could have on this planet ship Earth with other people, without people trying to dominate other people. There's no need for that, dude. Fucking take your own shit and work it out yourself. You know, you don't have to dominate other people. You don't have to make them bend and cower to you. Well, that's what makes me feel good. Well, guess what? You need your brain refocused. Because if people groveling on you is making you feel good, dude, you are not part of my solution. You're not part of my world. And I don't know of any person on this, I've not met a person on this planet that would want to be in your presence. Right? And that is from Zeus. We don't want people groveling. We want people living their highest version of themselves. The only way you know that is by knowing who you are. Just being the best you can be. Anyway, that was kind of an interesting topic, but the schizophrenia stuff is you get stuck in a mind of thought trying to figure out a problem, and then you create more problems because you hit those older programs. And unfortunately today, I don't know if I should even speak it, you know, there's these games and stuff like that and apps that basically keep your mind consciously distracted in moments of silence. And bridging the gap of silence with these automated tools. What are they automated tool for? I don't know. But what I do know is it could be make an app that would help somebody get a little bit more consciously attuned to themselves, finding out more about self. I wonder how you would do that if you did it. It's a great question for the day. Anyway, I just really appreciate talking to everybody, and I was hoping that's kind of hit home. We have total control over our own experiences, as I showed in the beginning, in order to pull ourselves out. And really, that very first sharing the feeling part, that is what pulls you out of the schizophrenic state of mind, so you can have some clarity, right? And it's not really a game, it's not really an app or anything like that, but I'm sure you could probably make one that maybe you do. I don't know, but it's so easy to do, why would I even consider it? But to make money off my brothers and sisters, which would be putting them into a form of servitude to me, and I don't really care to do that, right? It is what it is. That's kind of one of the things that's kind of kept me away from being a coach or something like that. It's because I don't want to put people in servitude, you know? And that's why I have, you know, the Cash App on there, Global Peace Project. If you feel inclined to donate, fantastic. God supplies all my needs. I'm learning more and more every day, you know, and I'm grateful that I have a truck out there. I'm grateful it's got just a basic issue that I can fix with little money. But, You know, it's like, it wasn't until tonight I was really thinking about some of the people I've met just because that truck was broken. And the most indispensable, it's indispensable, the people I've met. And I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful that the guys at the mechanic shop basically didn't fix it properly. It worked out in my favor. In fact, it was a hell of an investment, spending $1,000 and having nothing done on it, but yet it gave me the moment and the clarity to actually be in the places I was at because it was broken, right? To meet the people that I met that I couldn't put any price and communicate. It's interesting. It's interesting when we consider these things, how clarity can come. And I know for a fact, Dr. Joe Dispenza says this, in the day of information, ignorance is a choice. And I agree. And it comes down to the questions I'm asking. So, in a day of information, I should be able to just produce all this stuff here and not even have to worry about anybody ever donating. I don't really worry about it, and I appreciate it when people do, because people do. It's such a blessing, and it helps me. But, I mean, it's funny. It's funny. I think it's really funny because, I didn't really choose to, but I did choose to when I became an artist. And the people I met, the women that I met, oh my, lovely women, such beautiful. Had some issues, some of them did, but it was all in me, right? That's interesting. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. I think it's like, what time is it today? Because today is the day of your amazing good fortune. 2:05. 2:05. 2 and a 5 is 7. Number of perfection. So this is a good time to say goodbye. Blessings.